Let's Talk Mental Health podcast is sponsored by Torrance House Interiors East Kilbride. Concept by you, designed and managed by us. Bespoke luxury kitchens, bathrooms and room interiors. Contact us at info@torrancehouseinteriors.com or phone 07400 600 556.
Good evening and welcome to the Let's Talk Mental Health podcast, the weekly show where we lift the stigma associated with mental health. I'm James Downey, founder of the TAD Project, East Kilbride, established in 2019. It's a community organisation where we offer free health walks and free boot camps. And we offer so many other resources within the private group community.
I'm Brooke Longmore. I'm a mindset and mental health specialist, and I have been studying and working with the human mind now for almost 16 years. And I specialise in helping people move beyond emotional discomfort, emotional distress, into the intelligent mind. So helping people manage their emotions to live a better life.
Yes, and again, we're here to lift the stigma. Tonight, unfortunately, Ali can't be with us. We had a wee bit of technical difficulties on his end, so we're going to reschedule his podcast. However, myself and Brooke thought we'd come on tonight just to kind of reflect on the previous guests who have been on the show and look forward to who we've got coming on. So yeah, I mean, it's been great since we've started, Brooke, hasn't it? I mean, we first started from an introductory podcast to having, guys like the mental health runner on, Anne Rowan from, Chris's house. And, it's been great so far, and we've got so much to look forward to in the future.
I know, and the feedback's been great, right? And I think this just tonight just shows how real it is. Sometimes things just don't go to plan, and that's all right, And I think it's quite funny. We were scrambling behind the scenes, and now we're on, and it's just like, right, just go with it. This was how it was supposed to be, and as you say, we reschedule. But certainly the feedback that I've been getting from people is extremely positive. And many people reaching out behind the scenes because they maybe don't want to be putting on social media about watching. So I've had a lot of people reach out behind the scenes and just to share their views and their opinions. And so far, everything I've heard has been really positive.
Yeah, it's been really positive as well, my end. And we just met each other at the TAD mental health walk last week. That was the first time we met each other, which Brooke came up to East Kilbride and kindly joined us on our mental health walk. It was great. Did you enjoy that?
I did. I'll be back tomorrow.
It was good.
It was good. It was good. I think it's good getting people out together. And it's good to get people out together. And obviously the mental health walk is done in a very safe way as well, to stick to all the rules just now. And it's good about just getting people out of the house and just spending time together, because I think that's where, I think we kind of touched on this in the last couple of weeks, that people are starting to really struggle. I've certainly had a few people that's reached out to me since these lives and have signed up for coaching. Obviously, I can't say who it has been for confidentiality reasons, but there has been some people who have been watching this and have decided that now's the time for them to make a difference in their life, which is really, really positive. So I think we do have a lot of people struggling right now, and it's just good to get out there.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I think this has been great for us too. We just kind of met each other, and things have just kind of spiraled into a podcast, and it's really, really positive things coming out of it. And all I've heard is great things from people, and long may it continue. We've also added Sean to the team, the mental health runner, for all you guys out there. If you don't know, get over it and like his page. And I think Sean's had a really positive kind of positive way on us too. He's because we've been talking about him recently in good
and
terms,
I'm glad you said that, but yeah, absolutely. I think that because that was the first guest, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the first week after the introduction. And Sean does have a great way about him. I think we were kind of saying that you could listen to Sean speaking about his story for so long, because he's got a great way of delivering it. But also, and I think I touched on this in the podcast, he's got a great way of delivering it in a way that he's good at sharing his story, but also you can kind of feel some of the emotions through that. So you can connect, you're kind of really drawn in, and that's when I always believe somebody's very good at sharing their story, when you can be like, wow, you can feel it.
Yeah.
So he's good at that.
I totally agree. And he's done, that's his second podcast on Monday just past there, and he's thoroughly enjoying it, you know, and he's sharing it everywhere. He's getting the message out there, and we can only thank Sean for that as well.
Absolutely.
Andy Gal, you're doing a great job, and I, for one, are very grateful for the opportunity you've gave me to come on. Andy, that's no bother. Andy Gallagher.
I missed that one, didn't I? Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, that was
week
right
2,
at the start as well.
Week 3. Yeah.
And Andy was kind enough to come on and share his story, you know, and you know that's what we also want. We want people from, you know, projects to come on if they want to share their story. And,
that's it.
That it's very inspirational, you know, and if you're out there and you want to share your story, we'll give you the platform to do that, you know, and you don't have to worry, because me and Brooke, you know, we run this very professional, don't we? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have, obviously, people will know that we have discussions behind the scenes with people as well. So people are very much supported that come on. They can have as much support or as little support as they need. So I think it's always about, as well, for us to support each guest in a completely unique way, however they want to be supported.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's it. And, you know, we'll support everybody, you know, and it's not just about us. Like we said at the start, we don't have all the answers, but we wanted to make this platform, you know, to lift the stigma first and foremost, and just talk about mental health like it's normal, you know, and that's what this is all about. And unfortunately, you know, Ali couldn't be with us tonight. Ali, if you're out there and you're watching this on Facebook Live, you know, we'll get you on again. We'll you know, we'll reschedule as well. But again, we've got so many guests lined up. We've got the Celtic FC Foundation, who have kindly offered to come on. Tony Hamilton, the chief executive, I had a Zoom meeting with him, and there's a woman, Donna, that's going to be joining him from there as well, and she's you know, she's quite involved with them, so I'm looking forward to that. You know, and we want these football foundations on as well, you know. I think
I think certainly for me is that we're very similar in terms of big ideas. Right, big ideas, and I think it's really exciting what we have, but obviously we'll reveal all as times move forward, but we have got lots and lots of exciting ways to keep it real, but to also have a bit of a variety as well, haven't we? Just to keep it, to have it a bit different as well at the same time.
Yeah, and as well, we've got TED speakers coming on, you know, that have spoken in front of thousands and thousands of people. I don't think I could do that, but you know, I would maybe.
Yes, you could. You do it. You're already doing it. Well, you just can't see them.
That's true.
You just can't see them. And I think, it's so exciting, the people that are coming on. And I know that you say, obviously, you can share weekly that obviously doing this is quite nerve-wracking for you, but I would say the feedback's great, and listen to that, because you are coming across and delivering this in a very, very good way that's helping many people as well. So I think you could talk to thousands of people. I think you could.
I would give it a try. But no, this is it. But I mean, as you said there, you know, again, I had, and I keep saying this, that was one of my big things with mental health, was communication. It was hard for me to kind of speak to people, you know, and especially in big crowds. But obviously doing this, you know, I'm putting myself in the firing line, and it's great. It's great to speak to like-minded people, and you know, from my live perspective and from mental health, you know, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for support. If somebody wants to come on and speak their story, I'm here to support them as well as you with your professional opinion. And it's great, but it's not just about your professional opinion as well. It's, you know, your lived experience, you know.
I think it's about coming on and being people, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Just being people. You've actually just jogged a memory for me, and I don't know why it's never came back to me until there when you just said that. But see, maybe about 10 years ago, I never used to, so I've been doing this job since I was 18, right? And for a lot of the time it was kind of one-to-one or maybe family work, right? So I would kind of work with somebody in a one-to-one, or I would do a family therapeutic intervention. So you'd maybe be working with the mum, dad, the kids, maybe the gran, whoever was involved in the family. But it was very, I was going to say it was very comfortable. Sometimes there'd be a lot of conflict and you would need to kind of manage that. But the fear of speaking to crowds for me was really quite right. And I remember saying, I just knew there was going to be a time where I would do that. I just knew there's going to be a time when I'm going to. That's when I knew I was going. I've known I'm going to be doing this since I was really, really wee. And I remember about 10 years ago, I said to one of my colleagues, he was a volunteer coordinator and delivered a lot of training, and I said, can I come along and deliver a training input with you? And he says, of course you can. I said, look, I'm really terrified. I think it was maybe about 15 adults. I said, I'm really quite scared, but I just want to put myself out of my comfort zone because I really need to learn this because I want to do it. And I remember going along and feeling really nervous, but again, it felt very comfortable and natural quite quickly. Because I decided, but the fear was still there. There was still a fear, but it was just almost like, I'm going to need to throw myself into this and just worry about it later, right? And now it's massively paid off because I sometimes do inputs to maybe like 300, 400 high school pupils.
Right.
And that's scary, still scary at the side of the stage when you're going on to have to entertain and speak to for an hour, 400 pupils that are like that. What have you got to say is, I don't really want to be here. I don't want to be at school, so you've got to really entertain them to have them engaging with it. But when you said that then, I do remember really pushing myself out my comfort zone. And there is still sometimes depending, so that was kind of 15 adults who were quite supportive. Adults are quite supportive, but when you turn it towards children who are still in that kind of funny stage, there is still that fear. And I think I was speaking to somebody about this a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think that fear ever goes. And I don't think I think you've still always got that wee tiny bit when you're going to speak to a crowd.
Aye.
Because it's all these faces looking at you and waiting for you
to say something. But no, I totally agree. And I mean, public speaking is never something I've thought about. Doing a podcast, however, is something that I've thought about, you know. From a live perspective through this, you know, I was like a bit funny with it, but, you know, I came to the conclusion, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to, you know, and again, I keep saying this, you know, doubling down on my weaknesses, what I'm very weak at, I try to work on now, i.e., you know, doing stuff like this, and it's great. It's fantastic because, I mean, when you're doing a podcast as well, sometimes you don't have to do it live, so you're behind a mic, so nobody sees your face. Do you know what I mean? But I thought we need to get this live, you know, and in the moment. And this is what this is about. It's about in the moment, you know, getting that live interaction with the members, and after that, you know, uploading it to an audio site. And we're already, for the people out there that don't know, we're already in Spotify now. We're in Spreaker and Apple Podcasts, so we're available on all platforms, you know, which is great. And we're getting really positive feedback on that as well. It really has been a blessing, you know. Yeah,
and I think, again, when I go back to when I first started doing my videos, I would never have done a live. Never, ever. About 7 years ago, I was just like, no, I'll just do videos. But what I always done at the time was I didn't edit videos. Right, so I just made sure I never edited them, and I wouldn't watch them back because I would just be like, nah, I don't want to watch back, just put them out there. Because I think, again, I was getting prepared to do lives in the future. But I think if I start editing stuff, and again, if you start editing your material, then it's very difficult to be natural for public speaking.
Yeah.
And I remember going to an event and somebody says to me, do you watch your videos back? And I said, indeed I do not. Why would I want to watch my own videos back? Yeah. And she says, well, it's actually a really nice form of self-love. You know, it's a nice... And then I did start watching it back, and there was sometimes wee bits I'd go, what is this up for? But again, it was just like, you know, that feel the fear and just kind of do it anyway and just keep charging ahead. And now, here we are.
Here we are, you know. It's amazing, you know, it's great. how we've linked up, and we're in this for the same fight for mental health, and we really do want to make a difference, don't we? But again, we've not got all the answers, but we're doing this for the right reasons, and hopefully you guys out there can come along with us and support us and help us fight that fight too, because you guys are part of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've made this for everybody out there in the public to get involved and ask questions and get to the bare bones of mental health, because I do believe that the public are taking to it a bit better, but still a lot of discrimination out there, and it makes it hard for people to be done. Aye, there's still a lot to be done, but people who have this platform and can make a difference. We can all make a difference together,
I'm going to put you in the spot, right? And I'm going to ask you what your favourite bit's been so far.
My favourite bit? I think, oh my goodness, there's been so many. I've maybe got two, because one's so close to my heart, obviously. Right, okay, I'll give you two. Because Andy Gallagher, who came on, he's a relation to mine, he's a cousin. And he was going through what he was going through at the time. If I'd have known, because I've been going through poor mental health as well, I would have, I could have reached out to him, but I didn't know. So that, for one, Andy coming on and tell his story, and Andy's a member of my TAD project, and he's fantastic on there. He supports everybody, speaks to everyone, and he's a godsend. And Anne, when we spoke to Anne, about suicide, and that's one of the things that that are kind of it's touched on, but a lot of people kind of are taken aback by it a lot, suicide, and we've really went out there and spoke about it on this podcast and platform, and I think it's been amazing. What about you? What's been your favourite moment?
Right, so I've got loads too, but I think my favourite bit that really resonates and I really think of often, it was week 2, so we did the introductory podcast and then we had Sean on, right?
Yeah.
And obviously we did the introductory, so we spoke about this and it was a bit like, right, let's just go for it, right? Let's not think about it. So we kind of spoke on the phone and then just kind of put the date in the diary. And then we did the introductory podcast and then we just went for it with a guest. And it was almost like we didn't know what to expect. Again, just putting ourselves right out of our comfort zone. And there was a bit where we laughed and it just like, there was just such good energy. Yeah. And I remember just thinking, and I think that's the one that my seat rolled back. I had to discreetly kind of pull it in, and then I admitted it afterwards and I watched it back. And I thought, so I've got a wee bit of carpet under my chair now in case we laugh and I don't want it to roll back. It was on the wood floor. And I think that's when I just thought, do you know what? This is good.
Yeah.
Because again, and we touched on this with Anne, mental health is a serious topic, right? Because it has serious consequences for people's lives. But I think when you can talk about it, obviously we do talk about it very seriously, but we bring a wee bit of humour to it as well.
Of course.
Which is, I think that's a really good way to be looking at it as well, because if we just come on here and we're facts and figures and we're all just talking about theories and all this carry on, people are going to get bored.
Yeah.
And I think it's about getting the balance right, but also being respectful of mental health, but also bringing a bit of humour to it. So that was my favourite moment just in that week 2, and I just thought, this is what it's about. The energy just lifted, and we were able to very much regulate as well. So to bring it back down to talk about the more kind of serious things, and then the energy kind of lifted. So it's almost kind of that emotional regulation as well.
Yeah, and we talk about energy quite a lot, don't we, off here?
Oh, we do. We do.
It's something that we believe in, is, good energy. And that's why we try to bring that factor into the podcast, because, like you say, Brooke, we can't have it serious all the time, especially if we're touching on these subjects. But I mean, look.
And I think absolutely energy is massive, right? So I remember a number of years ago, I kept having guidance that I was very much an empath, very much a highly sensitive person. And at first I thought, this doesn't want to be a highly sensitive person. But then what I kept getting was, it's a huge gift, right? So it makes you better at what you do. But you have to really, really manage it. And there's been a lot of times where I've kind of struggled to manage it. And then I've left myself really deflated and really like zapped of energy. And I would say I get it 95% of the time right now after a lot of learning. So I'm very, very careful at TV programmes I watch, right? I do want because it lets me just switch off. I love when sometimes there's serious conversations. I go, right, James, I'm going to watch Coronation Street.
Sometimes you need that, though. You need that. You need to get away from reality, don't you?
It's a load of rubbish, sorry to the directors or the producers of Coronation Street, but it just takes you away.
Hopefully they're not watching.
I love it. I do love it, right? But I'm very, very cautious of films that I watch. I will not watch the news, right? And a lot of people will say, well, how can you? That's quite ignorant. My life's okay without the news, right? I'm very much cautious of songs that I listen to. So if anybody out there is feeling that they're highly sensitive, and a lot of people take that word sensitive in the wrong kind of way, because you kind of think, well, easily offended, easily, like you can cry really easy. And we kind of look at sensitive as being, they're very sensitive, but it's actually about being sensitive and picking up on other people's energy, which can be good again if you have to manage it. So I'm very much about like books that I read, very cautious. Now I do like my psychological horror movies. I really do. But again, I'm very, very cautious of what I expose myself to. So there's certain people I will not spend time with, and it's not that I'm being rude, it's just because it's not an energy match for me. You know, I was looking for a new book for my Kindle, as I said to you before we come on here, and I just wanted a nice wee gentle, maybe romantic read. And every single one of them was like people's love life going into disaster. I've had enough of that myself. But I've just found how hard it was there. I think I've got one. I think I've got a nice wee one to read later. But so energy, take it right back round to where you started, is massively important. Just being really careful who you spend your time with, conversations you have, TV programmes you watch. You know, sometimes people come to me and say, really, really bad anxiety, not sleeping. I say, tell me your bedtime routine. Well, I watch like CSI while I'm falling asleep, and I'm like, right, that's number one off the list. That needs to stop. Because if you're watching something like that right before sleep, you're going to take that into your sleep with you.
Of course. I totally agree.
So again, that comes back to the energy.
Aye. No, I totally agree. And, you know, that's something that I had to get right in my life, was my sleep. Because I was only getting 3-4 hours sleep, but that was because of my bedtime routine. I would look at my phone, you know, I wouldn't shut off. I would maybe eat before bed and all that. And it was just making me feel down in the morning. My anxiety would get really bad. When I started changing my routine, things were great. You know, I was a happy chappy, you know, and things were looking up. And you've got to implement these things into your life. And reading as well. Again, energy, watch what books you read, like Brooke was saying, you know. I've been reading a lot of positive books lately, you know. I'm trying to get away from the fiction and all that, because I do like to escape reality myself. Do you know what I mean? Whether that be watching a movie or, but I'm very picky about what I watch nowadays. You know?
I think for me, this is the first time I've picked a fiction book now for maybe about a good 8 months, because I'm reading on the subject all the time. Like my bookcase over there, I've got a bookcase at each side of my bed, and they are filled with mindset books. But there was just something today just said, I just need one wee fiction book, just a wee fiction book again, just somewhere to go to just get lost in the story. Now here's the other thing, here's the thing that's quite challenging. I start talking to my friends about the characters in the book, and I forget that they're not real. I go, wait, I tell you about such and such, like, who's that? And I go,
you're emotionally invested, aren't you? Sometimes you're like, you know, it's the same with it's the same with movies. It's the same with music, you know, as well. And you know, I listen to upbeat music all the time. What I've started recently doing is I've got a YouTube video, and what I do is I keep the phone, obviously the Wi-Fi not on, but I keep it away across the room, and I listen to Rain with. That seems to help me get to sleep. Rain with a wee bit of kind of thunder, and see within 5-10 minutes I'm out. And it's honestly, I've only kind of implemented that in the last maybe week or two. you know.
You're Taurus, aren't you? Taurus.
I'm Taurus, aye.
Taurus is a big Taurus. People who are Taurus find water very cleansing.
Aye. Right,
so
okay. I didn't realise that. Oh, that's brilliant.
And I can just imagine the thunder would almost be like if there's any negative energy in you or thoughts, that kind of thunder would kind of break that up.
Yeah.
Then the water's very cleansing.
Now that you're saying that, I totally agree with it. And it is very cleansing. When I wake up in the morning, I feel fresh. And I'm quite stoic as well. So, you know, I've got, it's a little book of stoicism. And I get up every morning, and for each day of the week, it's got a new quote. You know, right. It's brilliant. So I read that as soon as I get up, and that helps me through my day, you know.
And we touched on that, I think, the last couple of weeks, didn't we? About the morning routine being very, very important to how you set up your day.
Oh, aye, definitely. It is really important, you know. My mornings weren't too good. I used to get up for my work at like 4 o'clock when I was doing bodybuilding to get my first meal, because that's all was in my mind, was my first meal. I need to go and get my first meal, you know, and that was just wasn't a very good way of thinking, you know. That's all out of my life now, and you know what I mean. It's like bodybuilding's such a vanity sport. It's you know, and I'm glad I'm away for that. It's kind of helped me as well.
I can imagine.
You know? Definitely. So I mean, people out there, read some of the comments. We've got a new listener, Nikki Wilson. Music is my escape. You know, yeah, it's a great way of zoning out, and a great tool. You know, even laughter and comedy. Andy Gal says, "What do you think of that? Laughter and Brooke."
Yeah. There's actually a thing you can do that's laughter yoga. I actually remember, I didn't do laughter, I've never done laughter yoga, but I remember a couple of years ago when I worked in the workplace, and I had a really good colleague I was very, very close to, and we were sitting one day at lunch, and we said, "Is that boring the day, right?" And I said, "What can we do?" And he was like, "I don't know." I said, "How can we cheer ourselves up?" And I went, "Come, we'll just laugh." And he went, "What will we laugh at?" I said, "Just laugh. Let's just laugh." And he went, What? And I said, "I don't know, just start." So I started laughing. He was laughing, right? So then I started laughing, then he was laughing, and then the two of us were laughing. And I actually says, honestly, I said tears were coming down my face, and I'm saying, "We're just laughing at nothing." And that was making us laugh at it. I actually had to get up, and I actually had to bend over the chair, because I was like, my stomach was so sore. And that started out of nothing. And we still, if I catch up with him, we still laugh at laughing at nothing.
Wow,
and we started it really easy.
That's good energy, man. Do you know what I mean?
It was great.
When you see them, you automatically laugh. That makes you feel great, you know. It's fantastic, you know. I like
so
that.
Laughter's good. Music, I love music, but as I say, I'm very, very careful at what I'll listen to, because again, being an empath, even words and songs, can impact you so. Because if you're singing about the song and you just get taken away with the song and you don't realise, you're singing words, and words have a vibration. And words are feeding the conscious mind, and if you don't stop them at the conscious mind, they're going to the subconscious. So if you're singing songs all about, like, for instance, a lot of songs are all about heartache. And if you're just singing that, then you're actually passing that into your mind. And then it can bring up a lot of old feelings. Or maybe if you're listening to songs about, I don't know, maybe rap songs about violence.
That's
you know, I used to like rap when I was a teenager. I kept on sounding like my mum and dad and go, "That's just noise."
Aye, that's what my mum and dad used to say. I used to listen to like
that's just noise.
Naughty by Nature and NWA, and it's just all violent, you know what I mean? And that's because my mum and dad, you know, they're in their 70s, and they used to shout up, "Get that off," you know, respectfully.
And when that was the time, did you have? No, you didn't. Not the first time. James, don't lie. You're not the first time, right?
Not the first time, right? I'll admit
and that was right. That was when the time when you had remember the big music stations that had the two big speakers and like the 5 discs and like subwoofers and all that round.
That's right.
And now it's just a phone.
With the cassettes. That's it. Everything's in your phone now, isn't it? It's just
I actually
phones.
I know. It's great for this.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. I bought the Dr. Dre album in my Spanish class because somebody was selling them. So I was supposed to be learning Spanish, but buying the Dr. Dre album under the table. £3, come on. My Spanish isn't great.
Aye,
But I can sing Dr. Dre.
Brilliant, man. But no, that's it. I mean, like, as well, we're talking about phones, you know, there's great things that you can do with phones, like obviously podcasts. You've got everything in it. You can listen to your music, you know, it's such a great tool, and everything is a tool, you know, that can be put to good use. Like we're saying, spirituality, there's, you know, the right type of vibrations, everything can be used.
And it's all about balance, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about balance, and we can use technology very, very good, but I'm sometimes a bit like, I mean, we've gone, it's advancing so far, so quickly. And it is good for things like this, but again, it's just that balance. I certainly know when I've been looking at the phone too much, because as I say, I'm getting better. I think I'll always have to manage it, but getting better at just managing my energy, Jane, because again, posts on Facebook, people might think, that doesn't affect me, it's not my post. It does, because if you're exposing yourself to it, you're taking on that energy of that post.
Totally agree. I do a lot of my work from my phone, you know, and it's sometimes I'm on it too much, and you know, I'm constant head down on the phone, but it's, you know, I've got a laptop as well. You know what I mean? I'm like constant, but you know, this is how I've got to, you know, work. I've got to work, but I need to learn, like you say, I need to learn to kind of just reel it in a wee bit at times, you know. I have got
better, and I hold my hands up. It took me a while to do this, but I used to feel as if when somebody texted me, I had to respond right away, and now I think I'm trying to get the balance right, because I'm now probably ignoring people. Sorry for anybody I've ignored. I don't ignore clients, because I'm working. But a lot of the time I'll maybe say, I just don't have the energy to get back to that just now, because again, I was getting to the point sometimes at the end of my day, and it was just like I felt pulled in so many different directions. And again, it's just about recognising that and just being aware of where does energy leak and where can you save it. Because it's lovely to give people your energy, right? When, you know, you're saying you're reading that quote in the morning, when I got up, I decide what I need that morning, maybe a couple of pages of book, maybe a meditation. So if you're filling your own cup, your own bottle of water up, say, you want to give some of that away, but you also want to save some for yourself, so that you're going to bed feeling quite fulfilled that night as well.
Totally agree.
And I think that's something that I've had to learn, because it was very much over the years, it was just always, my job's my passion. I couldn't imagine doing anything else, but it can be my weakness as well, because I love it so much. So I'll go, I forget that helping people is, I've got to have a cut-off point where I say, right, I need time to read my wee novel, my wee fiction book.
You do. Everybody needs time for themselves, and especially when you're a professional as well, you know, when you're working, because I'm constantly on the TAD project. I'm, you know, speaking with members, and you know, try to talk to everybody. And you know, it's hard, but like I say, I'm trying to help. At the start, I was trying to help everybody, you know, and like, I know I can't help everybody in the world, but you know, I'm trying to make a difference, and that's it. I just need to learn to just relax, take back from my phone a wee bit, and just, you know, do what I can. You know,
and I think I've certainly learned over the years that you're actually much, much, much more helpful when you do have some cut-off time for yourself.
Aye. Because you're helping yourself, you know. You're helping yourself. So folks out there, for the viewers, and if you watch this later, please share the stream, because we want this to get out worldwide. We want this to get out absolutely everywhere, because we believe this podcast and this platform can make a difference for mental health, you know, and seeing what's happening, you know, and what's going on within the Let's Talk Mental Health podcast, because again, we want to touch on every subject, you know. You know, and again, I'll say this again, if you've got a story and you want to, you know, get it out there, please contact us, and we'll, you know, we'll go ahead with our podcast, and we'll get you on. But know this, you know, we'll follow you up, you know, we don't just kind of leave you. You know, if you come on and you want to share your story, Brooke and I will follow you up, and we'll, you know, ask if you want it to go on Spotify. If you know, if you don't feel it's right for you to go on Spotify, whatever, that's okay. You know, we won't share it. You know?
Of course. And what we do, I think it's also important if anybody wants us to cover a certain topic in terms of mindset and mental health, that it's good for us to be aware, because we want to give you people what you're looking for. Also, I think something that we have come up with in the last couple of weeks, now nobody's had to use this, right? But it might be in the future that we have got ways that if you come on and it's too overwhelming, we can get you off quickly.
Yeah.
Because again, what we don't want is if you're sitting there and thinking, really want to share my story, but I couldn't go on there for an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
James and I could talk to you probably for the next 6 hours, right?
Oh, God, aye.
But that's just because that's where we're at just now. But I'm just thinking about if you're sitting there and you're thinking, do you know what, I've got a story to share. Do I do the full hour? I think we're quite okay to say to people, you can come on for a segment, yeah?
Yeah.
But also,
absolutely.
if you come on and it's just too overwhelming, there's ways and means that we can have you coming off very comfortably without it being a disaster.
Yeah, that's it. We just, we want to give everybody that option, Anybody, even if you're a charity or you're a speaker, whatever, you're on to tell your story, it's easy enough to tell us, and then we can deal with that. So we'll go back to some comments, like I say, because we want to get people involved, and it's nothing but positive comments here, Brooke. People talking about music, how it helps them, and it's a big thing. But as Brooke said, try and watch what you're listening to. Try and make it feel right for you if you're feeling a certain type of way.
And there might be sometimes, but I probably want to add to that, there might be sometimes where you are feeling, so there's exercises that I do with some of my clients, right, that if they are wanting to let go of emotional experiences, I might give them an exercise where they pick an emotional song to listen to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's other stuff we do in it to be able to get those tears up and bring that emotion up, right? But that's a planned exercise. So it might be that one particular song brings back a lot of emotions. But again, that exercise will be structured, it will be planned, they'll have support before and afterwards as well.
Yeah.
So there can be benefits, but we just want to be careful that we're not putting the Westlife album on and just listening completely through. Because I think if you think back, some of that songs again, Westlife are great. I was a big fan. Boyzone, B17, loved them. But again, just being aware, we need songs that are uplifting as well. So there's different songs for different purposes. But it isn't just important that we just consciously choose your music. I love piano music. So, and again, not all the time, but there'll be certain times where I think, I just need to bring some calm into my mindset. So I'll just put piano music on and I'll just listen to something really quite soothing. And that helps me.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to give a wee shout out to Kick Mental Health. Ali was supposed to come on tonight, they're doing great things, they do a lot of kind of Zoom check-in calls, weekend live music streams, and right now they're doing a food bank, which is a reverse advent calendar. You'll see it on their page. If you could, go to Kick Mental Health's page and, give them a like, give them a share and support the work they're doing over there, because they're trying to combat mental illness with physical activity through football or whatever that may be in different regions. And they're doing some great work over there.
And they will be on at some point. Obviously, it's just unfortunate that when you do a live, this could potentially happen sometimes, but I hope we've winged it and been okay. No,
that's it. We'll just come on and talk, because I think that's what we're here to do anyway. We're here to lift the stigma. We're here to talk about mental health. So, if it comes to it and, a guest can't come on, we'll just jump on and give it a wee shot, Well, that's us. We're seasoned podcasters now, Brooke. So we're trying our best at this, Well, we're still learning, aren't we? I mean,
Yeah, and it was a case of, obviously, there was a frantic behind the scenes, wasn't there? I mean, for being honest, it was like, no, it will work, and it was like, no working, it's 8:15, right, let's go, right, see you outside, right, bye. So,
sometimes
sometimes
you just have to go for it, you know, just go on there and speak. So can we speak about what you're doing, Brooke? I know we kind of touched on the start. It feels like I'm interviewing you here, but it's not really.
It's all right. I interviewed you as well. I asked you a couple of questions.
That's true, because obviously, you know, you do counselling and you also do a lot of spiritual work as well. But can you tell the viewers again what you kind of do? And I'll tell them as well, you know.
Yeah, so there's obviously parts of my business just now that's not functioning because obviously everything that's going on just now. So I work with really everybody and anybody. If you've got a thinking mind, then I can work with you. So I do work with individuals, adults and children, do work with parents and children, sometimes together, sometimes separately. I do work with couples, I do work with a family. I also do a lot of work with the education system that's not happening right now, just because I can't go into schools. And I do a lot of work with organisations, again, which isn't happening just now. So the large majority of my work is the individual counselling, therapeutic intervention sessions, and also some family interventions. So there's some children I'm working with just now that are really struggling through the current times and just really finding it hard to understand what we're going through and the impact that it's having on them. When I'm working with a child, the parent's always involved. So the way I tend to work it is, if I'm working with a child over video call, we bring the parent in for the first wee segment of the session. The parent goes away, the child's there themselves, and then we have the parent there just at the end again, so that we're keeping the parent in the loop of the session. We don't tell the parent everything we talk about, or we would just be having to work for hours and hours. But again, just keeping the parents in the loop. I'm doing a lot of work with adults just now, again, who are really struggling with this situation. Some business owners as well who are struggling and starting to feel like the limiting beliefs that they worked on maybe last year are starting to creep back in again. Maybe conversations about businesses going not surviving this, so there's a lot of panic creeping in. And then I do a lot of spiritual healing as well, which seems to be really, really popular just now. The spiritual card readings seem to be very, very popular just now as well, because we are in a time where people are looking for answers, and people are getting a lot of answers through the spiritual work. And I work with cards personally daily. I've got about 30 sets of cards that I work with. So anything that I ask my clients to do, believe that I'm doing it as well. Yeah,
because you're practicing what you preach, you know, and it's great. And you know, I've looked into Brooke does fantastic work, and she's worked with someone I personally know. I'll not say any names on the podcast, but you know, like I say, and she loved it, you know. And from my point of view, what I do is, you know, I started off TAD as a community. I was going to have it as a hub within the community, a place where people can go. However, I turned it into an online hub where people can, you know, speak to each other, connect through each other through online, you know, and out with the online TAD hub, we do mental health walks. And you know, I come from a personal training background. That was my initial thought, you know, promoting better well-being in the community, and that's all I want to do is help people, you know, grow, but you know, get a sense of health and as well, you know, a better their mental health. And it's been great. It's been fantastic over the last year. It's grew into something that I could only have imagined, and it's not just available in East Kilbride. Anybody, you know, from any region is welcome to join the TAD project. And you know, we do free boot camps as well now, and they're fantastic just to get out and, you know, feel good about yourself. You know, that's what it is. Even if you come along and you don't do the boot camp, you know, just come along and, you know, just get a sense of community, because that's what I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build a wee sense of community that, you know, it's going to benefit people's health. But I don't want to go on night about me. You know what I mean?
No, that's fantastic work you're doing. And I think we spoke about this last week as well, after the walk, that you don't have to come along and talk to people.
No.
Just coming along and walking with people.
Stick
and
your
it might be
earphones
that you
in.
don't feel, you don't feel
You know.
comfortable talking to me. Maybe you're somebody who just comes along and you just want to listen for the first week
Aye.
and that's what makes you feel comfortable. Certainly for James and I, we don't listen, we talk.
Aye,
We do listen to. But
Yeah, of course.
it might be that people feel that they just want to come along to just listen, just to get out, just to spend time with other people. So it's not about coming along going and looking at other people and saying, oh, they're talking loads, I need to talk more. Oh, I'm not coming back because I'm not. Everybody will come along to these walks, your boot camps and stuff, and bringing themselves.
Aye,
And
that's
being
it.
themselves. There's no pressure. I think what you're saying as well, isn't there, not to be
No,
a certain way.
No, any fitness, levels welcome to come along. You don't have to be the fittest. You don't, it's just come along, like you say, and have a sense of community. Come along to listen, or just come along to get out the house. Just to get
And
up
we've
off the
lost that,
couch.
haven't we? We've
Aye.
lost the sense of community with everything that's going on. So it's good that you are able to do these things in a safe way just now that does keep people safe physically but mentally. And I think the online space is great too, having the online space, because it's a bit of both, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you having the online space is very much about people can have comfort from their own home, their own living room. They can go on at any time of the night as well and read through stuff, but also having that getting out the house as well.
That's it. That's
so
exactly
it's great
why
to have
I
a bit
done
of
it,
both.
Brooke. That's exactly why I done the hub from online, because I felt as if they have that wee bit of comfort, then, it might make them ready for later on to come to a health walk or to come to a boot camp. Obviously meeting people in person, it sometimes can be a bit hard. I know I had a lot of social anxiety over COVID, something that I dealt with personally. However, CAD was a godsend for me, because I knew for a fact I could go on and write a wee comment and somebody would be there, to support, and it's a very supportive group. It's private and confidential. That's all we need to know out there. There's mental health related questions. So if you're ever thinking of coming on, if you're going to watch this or you're watching this now, join, because everybody on there is very supportive. Brooke, you're on there too. You know what I mean, as well. So. It's a great wee place, and come along to the walks, come along to the boot camps.
I don't know. I'll need to work up to a boot camp, but I'll come along. I'll walk up to the boot camps.
And the walk, I mean, the scenery's great, and we can extend these walks, and it's a beautiful wee bit of countryside, and
it's going to be nice and sunny tomorrow.
Good. Is it?
The sun's to be out between about 9 and 11, so I think the sun will continue to be out.
I hope so. I love the sun, love it. But if you want to connect with us out there, we're on LinkedIn. Brooke has a SoundCloud as well. She regularly posts on SoundCloud, and it's fantastic. So you should go and check out her work. And you can connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We've not got Twitter yet, and we've got all the audio sites like Spotify and all that, so you can listen anywhere, anytime, and this is all free content, and we're trying our hardest to get great guests on, and have a different perspective every week, and a different outlook, and a different topic, but and could you tell the viewers a bit about your SoundCloud as well, Brooke?
Yes, so my SoundCloud I started, I can't remember, a couple of years back, right? The reason why I started it was I very much liked audio recording as well. I like a bit of everything. So when I started my self-development, I liked a bit of everything. I like to sometimes watch things, but often I like to just listen as well. So maybe when I'm getting ready in the morning, my house is just like a motivational cave, because I've got something on all the time. So I really liked being able to just listen to something. So when I was driving about and doing my work, I'd be listening to audio recordings constantly. So the SoundCloud started out of that. What I was just doing was just doing them whenever I kind of felt like it. Then when we went into lockdown, just before lockdown, I was doing a quote a day, right? And putting on a quote a day. I was writing my own quotes, putting on a day, and then I thought, that's not enough. People aren't getting enough. That's just absolutely not enough. What can I do? So I work very, very intuitively. So I had a think about it, and just all of a sudden it came in, do a daily podcast, like for SoundCloud, do a daily recording that's going to keep people motivated, speak about what's going on, and give people tips on how to manage their mental health. So I did that. I did that throughout lockdown every single day. So sometimes it would range from maybe like 5 minutes to 15 minutes. The start of July, I did a 21-day challenge that's still there on my SoundCloud. And I think the 21-day challenge could still be followed just now, because it's not all to do with lockdown, it's to do with mindset and mental health. But it was basically creating a mindset shift over 21 days. So I got people to tune in for the 21 days and to work with me from behind the scenes. So some people did it that haven't told me they've done it, because I've seen people have viewed it. So then maybe about a month or two ago, I started thinking, like, maybe this isn't needed every single day. The feedback was amazing. I mean, people were really sending me messages, emails, and saying, this is what's getting me through COVID. I'm coming in every day. It's getting me through lockdown. It's just lifting my spirits. I'm sending a copy to my friends, etc. But then maybe about a month or two ago, I thought, I'm not sure if this is needed. So what I've now done is, intuitively, I've went to do maybe a longer version every Monday. And that's what I'm going to do just now. So I'll do that until I feel I need to change it again. But as I said, I just kind of work with my intuition. I work with the energy that's going on collectively to just tune into what people need. So I use a lot of my meditations as well to tune into what people need. So that's the SoundCloud. So it covers different, and obviously they're all there. There's a whole library of them that can be reviewed, and they are titled with the topic that it covers. So you can have a wee scroll through, and if something interests you, you can have a wee listen.
Yeah, I think podcasting's happened a lot through COVID as well. I think it's a great thing to have and listen to podcasting in it. It's a really good platform, and look at us now. Do you know what I mean, on this? And
and it's absolutely, and people are now wanting to listen to podcasts. As I say, I listen to some music in my car, but a lot of the time when I'm driving about, I'm maybe listening to podcasts and things. When I first started talking about moving from working in mental health and organisation to build my own business, most of the people around about me were like, what are you doing? Why? What if it doesn't work? And I was like, it will work. No, but what if it doesn't? And I was like, it will. And that's when I had to really watch who I was saying things to, because for 2 years I'd listened to podcasts, I'd listened to Bob Proctor, I'd listened to Abraham Hicks, I'd listened to Tony Robbins over and over and over. I had brainwashed myself, and I could understand where they were coming from, but my mindset was just like, how can it not work?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, and a lot of people, there is some people, by the way, that actually did physically laugh in my face and went, you won't be able to do it. And those people are not in my life anymore. Because here I am, 4 years down the line, and it's all going well.
It's great. It's going great. We've received so much support for this, and we're truly blessed that people tune in and they listen on Spotify and all that. We can only thank you out there, But yeah, I mean, next week we have See Me on, who are a charity, so we'll get them on next week, and and then it's just, I think we're right up until February. We're booked, so we're always trying to get new faces on, and we've got some fantastic guests lined up. It's going to be great.
And I'm just wondering if maybe this is an option. This just come to me, that if when people see the advert, who's going to be on for the next week, I'm wondering if people who are going to want to watch it want to send in a selection of questions. So if you're a viewer that you think, I would like a question asked, and then you and I could maybe work through a list of questions to pick a couple of yours' questions.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we want. We want interaction. Because
I know a lot of people might not want to write it on the live. So somebody might say, I would like this question asked, but I want it anonymously. No, we can't go through everybody's question because we could get 100 requests. But even if you and I just picked maybe 2 or 3 from viewers to ask, might be a good idea.
I totally think it's a great idea. We've got a woman who's coming on. She's from California. She's from California. She's American. Do you know what I mean?
It's that time of the day.
I know. Anyway, you know, she's coming on to talk about gut health in the mind, and I'd had a Zoom meeting the other day with her, and what she would love questions. So hopefully, when the time comes, you know, we'll get the questions on, because I think that's something we need to make a part of this podcast, is a lot more questions. You know, interaction, because, you know, we can come on and talk, but we would love to get your feedback. We've got a lot of questions here. Well, some feedback here, you know, we're doing a great job, and, you know, we've got one: I have complex PTSD and not coping well with the virus. I've had counselling sessions for a year, but still not where I want to be. Could I ask the mental health team for different counselling? I had psychotherapy, but only helped a little. What do you think of that, Brute? I mean, because
what I would suggest is send me a message and we'll set up a wee call. And it doesn't mean that you need to come and do work with me. It doesn't mean, you know, I offer kind of free consultations to offer a wee bit of advice as well. If people from that do want to come and do work with me, then absolutely. But it doesn't mean because you've dropped me a message. So I would send me a message, because I would just like to know a wee bit more about what's going on for you, and I can offer a wee bit of advice. So just drop me a message, or just drop me an email, brooke@brookelongmore.co.uk. What I will say, just to answer that quite generically, right? So I would like to know a wee bit more about that personal, which I'm not going to ask to be put publicly.
No.
But in general, people reach out to me often when they've been in other forms of therapy that hasn't worked. This isn't always the case. Some people come to me and they've never done it before, right? But some types of therapeutic interventions will suit you at that time. So it's very much, that's the right time to be doing that. But you might outgrow something, or you might feel that it's just not for you. To give you an example, I've had a few people who have come to me this year and had said they've had counselling in the past, and they don't find counselling beneficial for where they're at anymore, right? So counselling's great, it's got its place. Counselling a lot of time will have you coming in, you'll speak about so it's almost like, if I describe it like as if you've got a wound in your arm, you rip the plaster off, and then you'll pick away at the wound. So you'll relive the event, you'll talk about the event, you'll very much kind of mind dump to the counsellor, and then they'll give you a summary of what they're hearing, and they'll give it back to you, and then you put the plaster on and you leave. And a lot of people will feel like that, and they'll leave and they'll think, I feel a wee bit lighter, but what do I do now? Right? So counselling will work for a lot of people, but this is the feedback that I'm getting. This is the feedback that I'm getting from people who come to me. I use some counselling techniques, but I also use emotional freedom techniques. I use NLP techniques. I use psychological interventions. I use age regression work. I use energy healing. I use mindfulness techniques. I'm also trained in CBT, right? So when I'm working with people, I use a whole blend and a whole mix. So some people say to me, do you use CBT? Yes, I do. But you might not be aware of when I'm using it, because it will be mixed in with other. So I've kind of found my own kind of, which I think is a wee bit of a unique way of working. There'll be people who will do very similar, but I'll draw on a lot of different techniques, because personally, I believe, and again, it's not saying anything, everybody's got their place when it comes to mental health support, but personally, I believe to get really good results, a whole mix of different therapies and techniques works really, really well. So to come back now to answer that is, if you've ever tried anything else and it hasn't worked, don't stop there, right? Ask to be guided, and it might just be, you'll just ask your mind, guide me to whoever I need to speak to, and then just remain open. And it might be me, it might be James, it might be neither of us, it might be you see somebody else on LinkedIn, it might see somebody on Facebook, but just follow that nudge when you got that nudge to reach out to whoever it is you're drawn to.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really important. So just because a certain type of therapy maybe hasn't worked for you, don't stop there, keep going. Most therapists will offer a free consultation call. I always say to people, ask me as many questions, because again, if you're comfortable about what you're talking about, you won't mind being questioned. So I quite like when clients come on and question me at first, to get an idea of how I'm going to work with them as well. So again, and you might have tried a therapy maybe 10 years ago and it was very much that suited where you were at that time, but it's not going to suit your stage just now. So some therapies are kind of for that stage in time, others are just not going to work with your problem or your challenge or your issue. And it's just about finding the right person.
Yeah, finding the right person. That's exactly it, you know. And guys, girls out there, you know, if you're looking for some guidance, you know, please reach out to Brooke. You know, I do offer a support network. However, Brooke has a counselling service, you know, and you know, like I say again, I know somebody that's, you know, worked with her, and she's benefited from Brooke's service. Hold on, Andrew Gallagher. I did counselling for a year, just felt we kept going over and over things, and tried CBT and changed my life. But different counselling works for different people. You just kind of touched on that, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely, you know? Absolutely. I did speak to somebody earlier in the year who'd went to counselling for 2 years and nothing changed, and she came on to a 4-week programme with me and her life transformed. It's just a different way of working. It's just a different way of, again, I'm not going to be the mental health professional for everybody. I couldn't deal with the world's demand. So again, it's about being drawn to whoever you're most drawn to. What I also like to do as well is, if you've got ever get any worries about who maybe you've been drawn to something, you've got a wee bit something that doesn't sit right with you, I'm happy to answer some questions on that. But what I always say to people is, I'll only speak to you so long as you don't name the person that you're bringing to me. So I'll give you an example, right? There was this woman who had been speaking to me and was maybe thinking about signing up with me, and then she's seen 2 other people and she was a bit like, oh, I don't know who. She said, can you offer some advice? I says, yes, let's get back on a call. I says, but do not tell me who these people are, because I want to give you advice based on what you're telling me. If you name them, I can't give advice, because then that's just absolutely not fair. So this lady was just asking me, this is the way they work, how will this work? So I was able to say, well, based on my professional experience, they'll probably do this, probably do that. Check out their credentials. I'm not happy maybe, or I feel a bit uncomfortable maybe this that they've said. So just do a wee bit further digging. But again, I'll never, if you come on and name the person to me, unfortunately I can't give you any advice, because then that becomes personal. So if you come on, you bring it generic, and I can offer advice on that. Yeah,
and again, from my perspective, you know, I do offer, you know, a support network, an organisation that, you know, will help with your well-being. I don't offer any counselling services, so, you know, I've not got any qualifications to do that, and, you know, that's why Brooke is here, and we're trying this blend, because I tell it from a lived life perspective of poor mental health. But, you know, do know that the TAD project is out there. You know, anybody can join. Anybody, and
and I think it's about having a mix. We always talk about the blend of, you know, what we both bring to this, and I think again it's about having, as I said, there's a place for everybody when it comes to men. Well, not everybody, you know what I mean. There's a place for everybody that's got a passion to work in it. My services wouldn't work as good if people didn't have your services as well. So I don't do the kind of fitness thing with people. I might suggest some exercise and then send you to James, but I don't do the fitness side of things. I don't get people out walking and I think all of these services are so vital, because we are a whole person. It's not just about working with the mind. You know yourself, we need to work with the physical, the body as well. We need to have that mind-body connection. So we come together from 2 different pieces of the jigsaw, and it does blend well, and I do think there's many services that come together that make up the mental health services, and we need them all.
We do, and we're all in it together. And I will say, you know, that TAD, we do offer a phone volunteer on a night shift. She does. It's Jane, and she does a 10 till 8 in the morning shift. And Jane will offer an ear. You know, she'll give you advice, but she'll also pinpoint you in the right direction of where to go, you know, signpost you, because again, Jane's a phone volunteer, she's not a counsellor, So we can only do so much in terms of, give the right advice,
and I think it's probably just very important for me to highlight at this point, right? I am not an emergency service, right? So if you're sending me a message to ask for a phone call, ask for a consultation, or to sign up for the programmes, there sometimes might be a delay. Now, I try and get back to people as quickly as possible, and often the feedback for people is quite shocked, like, oh, thank you for coming back to me so quickly, right? But just so that you're aware, if you're in crisis, I'm not your person to. Now, you might reach out to me in crisis, can I get a call with you? But please reach out to a crisis service as well, because I'm not an emergency service, so there will be times where I'm not picking up my messages, or I'm not maybe responding to emails, because maybe I'm working with clients up to 10 o'clock and then I finish at 10 and I don't see my emails I won't go into my emails until 8 the next morning. So I just want to make that super clear so that people don't put themselves in more danger. I'm there, but sometimes there might be a wee delay to the next day before I pick up with you. So that's where your volunteer comes in very handy, because that's absolutely a service I don't offer.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You can find TAD on Facebook, at the TAD Project. You'll see the logo, and it's a hub. Again, it's a private hub on Facebook. Just type in the TAD Project and that will come up. You'll see it. And this has been great tonight. We've just kind of went with the flow, and obviously it's a bit unfortunate we don't have Kick Mental Health on, but it's just one of these things that happen,
Yeah, and I think we just need to sometimes put it down to everything happens for a reason.
Aye.
And maybe there's going to be something else that they're doing even more exciting that they can come on and speak about when we do reschedule. I think we just need to think of it that sometimes these things happen for a reason, and we'll very much look forward to having them on when they're able to come on.
Absolutely. So guys, girls, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast tonight. If you watch it again, just make sure to comment and leave us a comment. We'll get back to you, because we always want to see new faces, and we always want to have people tuning in here at Let's Talk Mental Health. But this has been great. This has been fantastic. And for the person who has mentioned Brooke, if on the comments, you're more than welcome to join TAD. Just reach out and I'll point you in the right direction. But Brooke, thank you. This has been great.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week, guys and girls.
Okay.
Thank you for lifting the stigma with us. We have been Let's Talk Mental Health, and good night and God bless. Thank you.
Good night.
Let's Talk Mental Health podcast is sponsored by Torrance House Interiors, East Kilbride. Concept by you, designed and managed by us. Bespoke luxury kitchens, bathrooms and room interiors. Contact us at info@torrancehouseinteriors.com or phone 07400 600 556.